Hello, and welcome to this Ancestry Library Edition tutorial. I'm Kate, and this is Nancy, and if you love to solve mysteries and puzzles like we do, then you've got what it takes to become your family's history detective. And now is a very good time to get started because Ancestry Library Edition, a premier genealogy database, is free to use from home for the next 3 weeks. So let's get on the trail of our ancestors by looking at immigration records. First, let's go to the library's website. We'd like to go to valibrary.org. At the main library page, click on Databases. Then click on Genealogy. This will bring you to all our genealogy databases in addition to Library Edition. We're looking at Ancestry Library Edition today. Click on that, and you'll be asked for your library card number. Once you've entered your number, you will be taken to the main Ancestry Library Edition search screen. Now to look at immigration records, we have Nancy.
We're going to continue our exploration of the Catlow family today with immigration records and a census in England. We found out so much information about this family in both all the U.S. Census records and birth, marriage, and death index. It's been a real pleasure searching this family because not all searches are as easy as this family turned out to be. We chose this family because of the Catlow Theater, a landmark in downtown Barrington. We discovered that it was built in 1927 by Wright Catlow. However, his father, Joseph Catlow, was responsible for building the Auditorium Theater in 1916 in Barrington. And this was the first gathering place for the citizens of Barrington. So we're going to continue our search for Joseph. And I shall click on the link, begin searching. I will type in his name, Joseph. And we have found from so many references that he was born in 1853. And let's see what else we can do. We know from the census records that he immigrated in 1856. So let's try and, well, maybe we can try this. His arrival. Let's pick arrival under more. And his arrival was 1856. And let's continue with our search. Let me go into immigration. And here's a Joseph Catlow who was born in 1853 and he departed from Liverpool. He arrived in the US in 1856. This looks good. The only problem is his name is misspelled, C-A-T-L-O-E, but we've learned from previous records that this sometimes happens and names can be just transcribed incorrectly. So let's look at this a little more. It tells us that he came over on this ship called the Constellation. He arrived in New York City and he was age 3, which we can verify that. We've done that before. He came from England. So let's click on this to get a good look at this passenger record. And if we look down here, we see that he came over with his father, John. We found John living in Barrington as well. His mother, Elizabeth Kitson, Eliza Kitson. He had a sister, Eliza. He had a brother, Wright. Came over with a James. And here's our Joseph Catlow at age 3. So this is a perfect find, a perfect record. Everything matches everything we found out previously on the Catlow family. So at this point, knowing this, and we're going to mark down that John and Eliza, their ages were 34 and 33, and we're going to go look for them in an England census. So let me go to my search record and let me edit it a little bit. We know from the passenger record that father was John. We also know that from his death record we found earlier, and that he lived in England. If I do the math correctly, and it said he was 34 years old at that time when he came over, he would have been born in 1822. So let's see what that brings up. We know that John's wife was Elizabeth. And we know that some of the children's names from that list on the passenger record. So we could enter, I'm going to choose the name Wright just to show you how names are used and reused in families. But there was actually a child, a brother, who was named Wright. We saw that on the passenger record. And let's see what we can find on this. I'm going to do a search. And I'm going to go down here to Europe. And I'm going to go to the United Kingdom. And I'm going to look at England. Well, look at this. Here's an 1851 England census that has a John Callow and Elizabeth Callow. Could this be them? Let's click on this and find out. Let me see if I can make this a little brighter. Let's see, a little bigger. And if I can find their name. Okay, so here is John, the father. Here's Elizabeth. Now we have to go to the next page to find out the names of the children because that's going to be our conclusive evidence. So let's go up here and we see Elizabeth. They had a daughter, Elizabeth. Here's the son, Wright. They had a son, Wright. We saw that on the passenger list. They had a son, James. All right. The only one missing from the passenger list is our Joseph. But Joseph wasn't born in 1851. So this looks like a perfect match for the Catlow family back in England in the 1851 census. It tells us what church they belong to, the Holy Trinity. Beautiful record. So at this point, I'm going to share the screen with Kate, and she's going to fill you in with some more information.
Thank you, Nancy. Well, up to now, we've been pretty lucky finding those records in the Ancestry. But sometimes the information just isn't there, which is why we have to go to our other genealogy databases. Once a relative settled in America, they usually very quickly decided to become naturalized citizens. Unfortunately, I did not find John Catlow's ancestry naturalization card in Ancestry, but I did find it in FamilySearch.org, and I'll show you too. All right, here we have John Catlow from England, Great Britain, and Ireland, and he was naturalized March 22, 1876. And we have a certificate number there, 4160, so we may be able to actually order some records from National Records for naturalization papers. And we have a witness, C.O. Winter, and Mr. Winter was a prominent citizen in Barrington, so I am pretty sure this record is correct. So we now know that John Catlow came over in 1856, and he was naturalized by 1876. So as we've seen, Ancestry is a great resource for records that will help you further your genealogy research. We've also seen that not everything is online, but you are well on your way to finding your family. If you have questions, please email me at kmills@balibrary.org. Thank you, and have fun finding your family.